All right, so welcome to Screencastify. It's labeled as for elementary and middle school teachers. However, um, this app is available from K to 12 across the district. We got a premium account for Screencastify for everyone. That way, so if you teach for the high school and you're not a huge fan of the Screencast-O-Matic, which is only a high school app, then Screencastify is another really great, simple alternative to that. There's also tons of other screencasting tools out there that all work well, and it's a matter of your preference which one you want to try to use. So before I really get started, I'm Carla Fitzgerald. I was the technology coach for the Marshall and the Locke middle schools. This year I've been transferred to teach social studies at the Marshall, but I'm more than happy to answer a question every once in a while. But I've been doing this technology thing for the last 12 out of the 15 years I've been teaching in Billerica. So that's who I am. Now, what I'm really going to focus on today is not just showing you how to use the tool of Screencastify. I've also put resources in the Google Classroom that are there to help you create a good video for your students, because there are things that you need to know before you start to screencast that will help you and your students have a better experience when they're watching your videos online. So I'm going to start just by going over what exactly screencasting is and what are some of the rules that should be in place when you're creating a screencast. I'm just checking how many people we have now in our class. We are up to 195. Excellent. All right, so what screencasting is? Screencasting is basically a video of your screen. And at its simplest form, it's just you, your mouse, and your screen. But there are other ways to make videos or to screencast that can make engaging videos, besides just like navigating your mouse over a screen. So you can make a PowerPoint for Google Slides presentation, and this is one of my favorite screencasters of all time. His name is Mr. Zoller. He's a social studies guy. He's got a really loud voice, so this is a screencast, believe it or not. I actually reached out to him a couple years ago to ask him how he made these awesome videos. He's just using a slide presentation creator to make the videos and adding in the animation. So he goes pretty in depth with what he does to create his presentation. That's more of a video. I have a video about fractions where a teacher did the same thing. It could also be as simple as what I create most of the time, where I'm just sharing my screen and you're looking at what I've created. So I make these little tech tip videos. You probably have seen them if you... Oh, God, I hate my voice. So that's all I did, is I just shared the screen and worked with my mouse over the screen. Now, to kind of give you some idea about what rules should be in place before you start a screencast, I made a little tiny presentation to give you some ideas. So the number one thing is nobody has a long attention span. Adults, kids, it doesn't matter. Nobody has one. So your videos need to be short. So when you're actually creating them, you've got to first of all determine what type of video you want to make. Do you want to make a screencast with a really cool slide presentation and lots of animations that's really in depth? Or do you want to do a simple screencast where you're using a virtual whiteboard, drawing out math equations for your students? Or do you want to make a screencast that shows your face in the corner? All of those things are what you need to consider before you even get started. Next is your time limit. The number one rule is if your video is over 5 minutes long, it's too long. So break it down into different parts. The general rule, or the general idea out there that was put out by the guys who created the flipped classroom concept is 1 minute per grade level. So if you're teaching second graders, 2-minute videos are about as long as they can handle. As you get into the higher grades, they can be a little bit longer. Next, have everything ready when you were using your video. I'm sorry to be reading off my slides. I'm actually breaking one of my own rules with this, but I feel like this is like a super important thing to know. So have everything ready for when you're starting your video. Have all your tabs open if you're going to be demonstrating how to use a website. Have your tools ready if you're going to be drawing or you're going to be writing out equations for your students to follow. Have your presentations all set to go. Use visuals. Like if you're going to use a virtual whiteboard and you want to use a background on that, make sure it's all ready to go. Have a soundtrack. So I always like to add a little bit of sound or music to the videos that I create. If you're not going to get fancy and do any editing with your screencast, don't worry about the music piece. But if you are going to edit, have a soundtrack, make it a little catchy, have a title screen that's at the beginning. And then finally, be concise. So whenever you do a screencast, as I said, keep them short, 1 minute per grade level, and be concise. Don't try to over-explain anything because your audience is going to shut their brain off as soon as you start going on, like I am right now. Don't do what I'm doing right now. Okay. So that's what screencasting is, and those are the basic rules. So you guys are here to learn about one of the screencasting tools. So this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through how to use Screencastify, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you a couple of bells and whistles types of things to do as soon as my presentation loads. So this is why you have to have things ready, because otherwise you're talking over the loading of your presentation. So I'm going to show you how to add the Screencastify extension if you already haven't added it. I'm going to show you the features of Screencastify. I'm going to show you how to record your first video. I'm going to show you how to save and share your video. If you want to go directly from the Screencastify editor to your Google Classroom or just to Google Drive, I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to give you some resources and tips for screencasting. So we're going to end with that stuff. So if you don't want any of the resources or tips I'm going to share with you, or you don't want to hear about it, feel free to go back into that classroom that I've shared with everyone and access any of those resources there at any time. I'm not going to archive that classroom. It's all there for you to use. So first step is how do you get to Screencastify? So I put a link to Screencastify in Classroom. So you can either go to screencastify.com to get the extension, and it's usually in the upper right-hand side of the screen if they haven't already changed it. So mine says already installed because I've already installed this app. It's also up here. And I believe that they've also added it to our Launchpad class link. So it's in multiple places for you to go. My student, I'm still a student in this one. I got to switch my account. Thank you for bearing with me. Yep, and it's right there on your class link page if you haven't already noticed that. So that's another way to get to Screencastify. When you're here, all you have to do is click Add to Chrome, and then it's going to take you through some steps to get started. So I'm officially have it added to Chrome. If you've never used it before, the first time you're going to click on that icon, it's going to ask you for some permissions and to log in. Go ahead and follow the directions for allowing those permissions to take place, because you definitely want it to be able to be connected to, your Google Drive. And you want it to be able to connect to your Google Classroom because you can share directly to those two places. So getting started, once it's installed, the next step is to click on the Screencastify icon that's in the upper right-hand side of your Chrome browser. You definitely need to be using Google Chrome to use Screencastify effectively. So if you're in another type of browser like Explorer or Firefox, it's not really going to work as an extension. You have to be using Chrome. If you add it to Chrome and it doesn't show up in this little bar at the top, here's a little tip that I learned recently. You click the puzzle piece icon on the upper right-hand side of your browser, scroll down to where you see the extension that you want up there, and then just click this little pin button, and then it will show up on your Chrome browser. All right. So once it's there and you've given it permissions, now how do you get started casting your screen? So you click the little icon in the browser, and then what happens is it will take a second to load, and it gives you your options here. So you can either choose to record your whole desktop. You can record just one tab. I never do that because I'm usually jumping back and forth between tabs when I'm doing my videos. Or you can just do your webcam. Below, you have your microphone option. And you know your microphone's working if this little meter is going up and down. And you can switch between the types of microphones. So if you're using a set of headphones and you want to make sure that it's set to the headphone microphone, then you can change that. Here's where you can add your embedded webcam. I never do that. I don't like my voice in my videos. I don't like my face in my videos. So it's just something I don't turn on. But if you want to make that personal connection with your viewers, go ahead and turn on that embedded webcam. It will put a nice little picture-in-picture on your screen so people can see your face as they watch your video. So a lot of companies have adopted this Google 3-line main menu. So you can click on that and it gives you a whole bunch of the other features that you have. So I've got a ton of recordings, so I could click here and see what my recordings look like. So those are all the recordings that oh my gosh, I've made a lot of recordings. I'm going to go back to that menu. If it lets me. I can check out what the status of my subscription is. We have a district-wide premium subscription to Screencastify because we'll be using it quite a bit this year. There's more options that you can take a look at. So where you can actually set where you want it to save your videos. Saving it to Google Drive is definitely your best option. You can always download the videos from Google Drive. You can set up your notifications. I just keep mine on so I know when something is done rendering. It gives you keyboard shortcuts, your recording settings, privacy settings, and then I don't know about this stuff. I haven't played with that yet, but those are all the settings you can use. Come on. Other things that are underneath there are just some resources for you, a submit button, an editor, which I'm going to show you more in a little bit. You can switch back and forth through accounts, and it's got a great help section. In fact, some of the resources I actually posted in the Google Classroom I shared with you are some resources directly from Screencastify. This personally is my favorite editor out there, or screencasting tool out there. I used to love Screencast-O-Matic, but it got weird and I just had to stop using it. I've used something called Hippo Video, and that was okay. This one is just so simple to use, so streamlined that I highly recommend this over most other tools. There's a couple out there that I've never used that people have asked me about, and I'm sure I could try them and like them, but when this works, I don't tend to want to move away from a tool that I really like. And that's kind of advice for everyone. If you find a screencasting tool that you really like, stick with that tool. So that same menu that I was accessing through the extension is also available whenever any of the screencasting screens show up. All right, so how do you screencast your first video? You click the icon, and when all of your settings are in place, all you have to do is click record. Now, anytime you screencast anything, if you're going to use this on Google Meet when you're sharing your screen or anything else, it's always going to ask you how much of your screen you want to share. You can either do your entire screen or your application window. My advice to you that if you're going to share your entire screen and you're going to take your students through multiple tabs, make sure the tabs that you have open are the tabs that you're using for your presentation. Don't have anything extra open. So like if you have something set up for your Gmail and you get Gmail notifications, you want to shut that off so kids don't see in your videos who you're getting notifications from in your presentation. So make sure, and also if you're going to use students to help you in your presentation in any way, make sure you have parent permission that you've done, that you, that it's okay that you're there helping you out with it, or their faces are going to be seen in it. All right, so I'm going to click that box in the middle of my screen to show that I want my entire screen to be shared. Next, I'm going to click share. And if you heard the ... ding, that means that I am now sharing my screen with not only Google Meet, but Screencastify too. When I'm all done, all I have to do is click up here. I can click up here. And I can click stop from there, or I can click stop sharing at the bottom, and then I'm all done. However, if you want to do some fancy stuff while you're recording, there are options on the bottom left-hand side of your screen that are going to show up. So for example, the top 3 are cursors that can highlight what you're looking at on the screen. So you can choose focus mouse, and so mouse, which allows you to highlight where exactly you want people to click. You can use hide your cursor, so if people can't see it. Make sure you shut off things when you're not using it. You can highlight the clicks of your cursor. So if I was going to go for school, you could see the mouse clicks when we watch the video. You can draw on the screen and show the kids what you want them to look at. You can erase what you've drawn. You can clear the whole screen just by clicking that. And then you can add your embedded webcam at any point if you feel like showing your face in your video. But you can also pause and stop your video from here. You'll also notice that there's a restart recording. So if you realize that you've made a mistake and you don't want to watch it, just click that restart recording and the recording can stop altogether. When you're all done, click the stop button or stop sharing. And now what's going to happen is Screencastify is processing your video. It also gave me a notification that this screen recording is being automatically saved to my Google Drive. Thank you, notification. My family just is harassing me in the window. All right, so now, once you're here, it gives you a couple of options. The first thing you're going to want to do is watch your video. As painful as it sometimes is, make sure that what you've done is correct. You can turn on sound by clicking the little icon, the sound icon on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. If you like your video, make sure you retitle it. That way you know exactly what the video is when you go to find it. The other thing that you can do is you can trim your video directly from here, or you can open an editor and chop up your video right through Screencastify. So you don't have to use a video editor to change your video if you don't want to. It will give you like little tips when you first get started. I'm going to dismiss. And it's a basic editor. You just drag your little line to where you want to cut it. You can add text throughout the video. There's not many bells and whistles. It does look like it allows you to add other clips to the same recording. And when you're all done, you just click export. And the video can be exported to your Google Drive, or you can save it as an MP4, which is a video file, to your desktop. The other really cool things that are available here is if you like the video the way it is and you don't want to change it or do anything to it, you can just click share to classroom. So I could share this video directly to the classroom that we just created together, or I just created for you guys, which is really nice. It allows you to actually create, just like most of the sharing, you can create an assignment, ask a question, an announcement, create some type of material, and then click go. And then this is going to save to my Google Classroom that I shared with you guys, which I love that feature of it. I think it's probably one of the best things ever. You could also publish directly to YouTube and then put it into your classroom if you want. You can get an embeddable code if you want to post the video in Aspen. You can use the HTML. Don't ask me how to do that now. It's pretty simple to do, but it's something for if you individually want to take your videos and embed them into Aspen, just send me an email and I'll show you how to do that. There's more options too. You can email the video. So sometimes over the last couple of months, teachers have sent me a question that's mostly for something that they want to figure out on their own. I'll make a quick screencast and I'll send them the email to how to actually do what they're asking how to do. You can generate a QR code that can be read on any cell phone. So you can hang it on a wall and someone could watch a video and download. For some reason, I feel like something's missing here. Oh, it's not. There's the download options. You can download the video. You can export it as an MP4 video file. You can only take the audio of the video, or this is one of my favorite things, you can make a GIF. So if you screencast and have your webcam on and you're doing something goofy, you can download a moving picture or a GIF or a GIF or however the kids pronounce them nowadays to create, to share with your students too. I think I might do that. It's so fun. So that's a lot to Screencastify, and I've given you a lot of really cool ideas for it, or a lot of there's a lot of information for using Screencastify. So the tutorials and the articles that I've given you are so basically things to get you started. But the thing that you need to know the most is that everything starts from up here after you've accepted all of the permissions. So you get started just by clicking the icon on your Google Chrome toolbar, and all you have to do is click record. And if it's the way you like it, you just rename your video. It automatically will save to your Google Drive, and you can just share it to your Google Classroom and be done. So it's a pretty simple tool to use for recording videos for your students. In fact, I think it's probably one of the best tools out there. And that says a lot because I'm a big fan of WeVideo too. So that's how to use Screencastify. Now let's take a look in Google Classroom to see all the other stuff that I've given you guys. So tutorials, there's a couple of articles from Screencastify itself that are really great, I thought, to getting started with Screencastify. So if you missed something that I said in my presentation, or you want to go back and read it on your own pace at your own time, I really liked these articles. I thought they were great for getting started. There's also an 11-minute video for how to get started using Screencastify. So when I told you about how to make good screencasts or videos that people really want to, your students will want to watch, I am going to tell you planning is the most important piece to creating a good video. At first, it takes a while. Like some of my early screencasts probably took me 2 or 3 hours to do it right, because I was being a perfectionist and kept screwing up and not doing things correctly and not planning well enough. Once I got to the point where I need to write a really quick script, I need to write, create a really good, easy slide presentation as my storyboard, it became much easier to make those videos. I also have to get over the fact that I tend to talk fast and really need a script to follow when I'm doing any type of presentation. So planning is super important. So what I did is I included 2 template things for you to take a look at. I have one that's storyboarding versus screenwriting. I used to share this with my 8th grade students when I taught 8th grade social studies and we were starting a video project. This kind of told them the difference between what a screenwriting, what a script is and what a storyboard was. Your videos probably aren't going to need a storyboard unless that's how you think, and writing out a storyboard will help you. The other one is basically how to write a script for a video, and it's just a couple articles and a template that I modified. So this is actually a podcasting template, but I modified it to be a script writing template just to help you get started. I also have some examples down here of screencasts for you to take a look at. Now, when you create a screencast, you have to think about what your background is going to be. What exactly are you going to screencast? So I have an article about how to make instructional videos, but I also have a link down here to virtual whiteboarding. There are several tools out there that you can use as a virtual whiteboard. One of them is Jamboard, which I love. Jamboard is a great virtual whiteboarding tool, but at the same time, it's collaborative. So you can actually work on a Jamboard outside of a screencast to work with your students all together at one point. So a couple of these, this one's from a class I took this summer. This is a sample lesson from Amy Weinrich at the block. Of a Wilson lesson that she developed to work with students, but it's also a really cool tool just to draw and write or explain things to your students. So if you're a math teacher and you want to be explaining a topic to your kids, use something like Jamboard to do the writing for your students. So that's one. I also like to use Google Keep for that function to use as a virtual whiteboard. In Google Keep, there is a drawing feature. It's not interactive like Jamboard is, but if you're just doing a screencast, it's a great whiteboard that you can use as a background to explain a concept. It's taking forever to load, so I'm not going to stick there. The other thing is, if you attended my Cami lesson yesterday, I found that Cami has really great videos for how to do screencasting within the app itself. This is also a great virtual whiteboard to use as a tool, and our district has the premium subscription to Cami. So if you didn't get to see that video, I did put a link on the doc that Jill shared out with everyone that will show you. Also, Cami, just go to YouTube and type in Cami, and there's some they have amazing videos for how to use the tool. But that's also a really good virtual whiteboard to use to make a screencast. Now, the other thing that I included on this list is a link to the tools. So if you're not great at drawing with your mouse pad on your laptop or using a mouse itself, there is a tablet that I found that's not too expensive. It's about 70, 80 bucks for the simple version. It's called the Wacom Intuos Graphic Drawing Tablet, and I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen and show you the one that I have. So there's the box. I got this with a Donors Choose grant a couple years ago. I had some 8th grade students on my tech team that wanted to make a comic book, and so I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. So this is what it looks like. It comes with a little pen and a cable that you plug directly into your laptop. It's not wireless. It's only $80. If you want the wireless one, I think they're $300. But I just plug this into my laptop, and then I can draw and write much neater than I can if I were to actually use my finger on my mouse pad. So that is basically what I was going to share with you. It's a lot of information. It's probably enough to get started. My recommendation is that you go and you play with the tool. Get comfortable with it. It's a perfect tool to make short tutorials. Remember, 1 minute per grade for your students, so they can actually get information from you and rewatch it over and over and over again if they want to. It's awesome. So I'm going to look back in the classroom. If you didn't see it already on the stream, I put a place where you could ask some questions. So I'm going to go back and look at that to see if there's any questions that I can answer. All right, so I'm going to the stream, and feel free to type them in now. if you have any. Ooh, great. Is there a way to stream with YouTube chat? Henry, I don't know anything about YouTube chat, but I'm assuming that you can. I actually have never used live streaming YouTube. No, I take that back. I tried once to use live streaming in YouTube, but that was years ago. So I'm really not that sure. That drawing tablet, Vanessa, to answer your question, you said that you asked the drawing tablet you linked, will that also work well with Kami and Pear Deck? It works with any application that you can draw on. So it works with Jamboard, Google Keep, it works with Kami, Pear Deck, anything where there's a drawing feature, it will work with. It's actually pretty a pretty nice tool. I liked it. I like it. I'm terrible with it because I'm still kind of getting used to the not using my computer directly and using the tablet, but it's really awesome actually. The Screencastify editor is not in your waffle. You have to access it from I'm answering Amanda Waterman's question. She said, is the editor in my waffle? No, it's an extension that you need to add to Google Chrome, and it's under the if you click the 3-line menu on the upper left-hand side, you can access the editor from there. And I don't believe that you need to update your extension. I still have the premium features from adding from the spring. And I think if you're in the Bill Ricka K-12 and when you add it, you'll automatically be given the premium account. So shutting off Karen Mahone's asking, how do we shut off notifications? All right, I'm going to share my screen again to show you how to shut off notifications. So when you go in to Screencastify, either you opened up your recordings or you click on the extension in your Chrome browser, you'll go to the 3-line menu and you are going to go to Options. And you're going to scroll down to where it says Notifications right here, and you can actually just toggle them off so you don't get the notifications while you're screencasting. I need to check this. I'm pretty sure that all you need to do is log in to get the premium membership. I don't believe there's a special code, but I will double check with Jill. And when I get that answer, I will post it in this classroom so that people know. So Josie asked, is it better to download the video and add it to Classroom or to use the Add to Classroom feature? I'm going to say just use the Add to Classroom feature if you make a video. I know, Josie, you really like to use a video editor to make your videos look awesome. And guys, she's really good at this, by the way. But so since the editor in Screencastify is so simple, you can still edit there and just go directly there. If you want to use a video editor to make it more fancy, I would recommend downloading it and uploading it into the video editor to actually kind of add some flair to it. That's what I do when I add my my home screen and I add my title screen and my music. I'll download it and put it in an editor. I think you can use a stylus on to go to Jennifer's question. Can you use a stylus on the, I don't know, let me try. Nope. It doesn't really work. Thank you, Christy, for the feedback. Mike Ash went on eBay, guys, to get one. Rebecca, you can't, I don't believe an iPad and a PC will work together. So Josie's next question is, what is the difference between Screencast-O-Matic and this? Screencast-O-Matic, you download the screencasting tool, and Screencast-O-Matic allows you to do portions of your screen and not the whole screen. So like you can actually edit or record like one corner of your screen if you want to. That's the biggest difference I can think. Other than that, they're both screencasting tools. They both have drawing options built into them. As I said, I used to be a huge fan of Screencast-O-Matic. I used it for, I want to say like 5 or 6 years before they started updating it, and I didn't like it. So I kind of stopped using it and found Screencastify and just really have stuck with that one ever since. Tara asks, I have the white Wacom pad. It seemed to only work with the whiteboard that came with the laptop. It does work. It should work with Jamboard. I've used it on Jamboard quite a bit, actually. And you can use Jamboard and Screencastify at the same time. So what Screencastify does is it just records your computer screen. So whatever application you're using on the screen, and that includes something like Jamboard, you can actually record that in your video. Okay, so, ooh, sorry, I'm getting used to this mouse pad. So the next question is, can you explain the difference between recording your browser tab, webcam, and desktop? Yep. So I'm going to go back up to the Screencastify icon in your my Chrome browser. All right, so browser tab, let's say I just want to record the tab that I'm on. I would click that, and it would record nothing else on my screen except this tab, the Screencastify tab that I have open. And I'm talking about the Google Classroom tab. Desktop is the whole desktop. It is every single tab I have open. I could close my browser window and open up another application, and the screen would record every single motion I'm doing on my screen. The webcam only is just my face. It doesn't show the screen at all. So if you want to do like a video of yourself with an old school whiteboard behind you, you can use the webcam feature of this to do that. It's totally fine. Now the embedded webcam is where you're recording your desktop and you can have your face in it at the same time. And I'm going to painfully do this. So I'm turning that on. I've got desktop going. I'm going to click record. And you can see it's asking me either just the one window or the entire screen. I'm going to choose entire screen. Click share, and you can see my beautiful face down here in the bottom corner of my screen. So as I record, it records that webcam of me too. I'm going to stop that now. We're done with that. Close that screen. Bye-bye. Okay, it's going to open up a new window on me. Go back here. Okay. So it's kind of up to you what your preference is. So as I said, I never do my browser tab because I'm always jumping around and doing lots of different things when I'm screencasting. Oh, April, Flipgrid is a whole nother workshop I could do easily. I love Flipgrid. It's a great platform. It's private. It's perfect for that between student communication. I'm going to say Screencastify and Flipgrid are two completely different types of tools. And if you're going to have students respond to you and send videos, I like the closed feature of Flipgrid. So I would just keep that in Flipgrid. Screencastify, yeah, you can totally do that too. The benefit of doing it that way is that other kids can't see the video, only you can see the video. So and I'm sorry for those of you that don't know what Flipgrid is. I highly recommend checking it out. It is such a cool tool. And the name of my tablet is linked in the classwork tab. It's the Wacom Intuos, and it's the small version. Can you cut out the middle section of a video? Yes, you can. So when you get to the editor, you can cut it out in the editor. You can't cut it out while you're recording. And you would do that just by clicking that little line and then hitting the scissors in the editor, not the first screen that opens up, this one. Not this one. You actually have to open an editor, and then you can actually cut out portions of the video. It's loading. Good questions, guys. I love it. I love that people are sharing the tablets. If you're curious about what tablet I'm working on, the link is in the under the classwork tab, and it's under the tools. And Mike Ash is definitely one of the experts on this, guys. He has been using drawing tablets for years with his Promethean board too, so he's one to ask for sure. Yes. So Vanessa, your question was, can you connect a document camera and then record a video in Screencastify with both your desktop? As long as the document camera is recording and showing on your desktop, anything that's happening on your screen can be recorded from a screencasting tool. So Screencastify will record anything that's happening on your screen. So that's definitely a really cool idea to do. Oh, and then Christine, so as I was saying, like if you are, so with that document camera question, so if I were to have a document camera attached to my computer, and I actually probably should go try to find mine, I would just click the Screencastify icon, and then I would do desktop. And the reason I would do desktop is because it would record, this one only records the tab, the internet tab that you have open. Desktop does the entire screen, as I was saying before. Like I could close out this window and record my desktop, which I'm not going to show you because it's pretty messy. But yeah, that's anything that's going on your computer, you can record. All right, and that looks like all of the questions that you guys have for me, which is great. I'm going to be publishing this video, and I will post the video in the Screencastify Google Classroom I've shared with all of you. And feel free to send questions if you have them. I would love to help you out with the questions. And sorry to throw Mike Ash under the bus, but he is actually pretty good with the drawing tablet tools. All right, so have a great afternoon. This has been fun, and I'll talk to you guys soon.